Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Market Forecast from Options University. This is Butch Shorak. It's Monday, December 2nd, 2013. Access to this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing contained in this video, website, or promotional material constitutes a promotion, recommendation, solicitation, or offer of any particular investment, security, or transaction. Options University provides educational services that are meant to teach you the risks and rewards of trading stocks and options. We're not a service that tells you what to trade. We're not implying or guaranteeing net profit. As always, do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. With that fact, let's take a look at the market and take a look at the week that was. And looking at the overall indexes, we'll look at the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, Russell 2000, and it was another interesting week as we look at the indexes. Looking at the Dow, up 0.1%, basically flat for the week. Also, the S&P 500 flat for the week. But look at the other minor index. Well, we can't call the NASDAQ a minor index. Up 1.7 for the week, led by some of our favorite stocks that we look at in gold. For you gold members. And the Russell 2000 up 1.6%, giving us some, again, very lofty numbers for the year. Year to date, out of the Dow, 22.8%, NASDAQ, 30.4.5%, S&P 500 up 26%. And let's go back and look at that one more time. The Russell 2000 up 34.6% for the year. Look at those levels, led by the Russell and the NASDAQ. The market has had one heck of a bull market. Let's take a look and see what's coming this week after our Thanksgiving week last week, which gave us a flat return out of the Dow and the S&P 500, but we had those NASDAQ and Russell indexes certainly run up to new high levels. Looking at the week to come, Monday, December 2nd, we've got PMI before the market opens. We got ISM, construction spending, taking place at 2 o'clock. Quite a morning on Monday morning, giving us numbers that certainly have at times had an influence on the market. Looking at December 3rd, we see that we have very little really taking place. Then looking at Wednesday, December 4th, as we enter into another new week, the last week of the month, the last week of the quarter, and the last month of the year, ADP employment report at 8:15. On Wednesday, international trade at 8:30, new home sales at 10, and ISM non-manufacturing index at 10 o'clock. So quite a morning on Wednesday morning as we have, again, numbers that can tell us what this economy is doing and what the overall market's doing, and have a good look at what the whole market is doing. Next, on Thursday, we have GDP coming out at 8:30, jobless claims coming out at 8:30, which come out every week. And then Friday, finally, we have the employment situation for the month of November being exposed, personal income and outlays, consumer sentiment at 9:55, and that will take care of the week with a bunch of economic announcements that certainly can cause some volatility in this market as we move forward. Now, let's take a look and see what the SPX looked like last week as we continued in trend, and look at that. Looking at just the last 3 months, our trend, look at that 200-day moving average going up, 30-day, 50-day moving average going up, 30 above the 50. Our definition of an uptrend as we keep getting higher highs and higher lows as this market just keeps showing us how much strength there is coming from the Fed and from, albeit a weak overall economy, still a growing one as we come into that holiday buying season where the market tends to run because everybody's in a buying mood. That's the way it works. Will we have a Christmas rally to tell us what the rest of the year is going to do? Well, that remains to be seen. Next week we will discuss what exactly it means to have the Santa Claus rally. Looking at the last week, we see that we had a 4-day week, and it was relatively flat in the S&P, which we saw for the week of 0.1%, and that's exactly what the SPX showed us for the week, as it is getting rather lofty, but still stayed above that 1800 level as the SPX shows its strength. The Dow, however, showed us the same kind of move where we did get an all-time high out of the Dow this past week on Friday, but notice that it still closed right there about the same level. Notice that when we look at the last week in the Dow, Very low volume on both on Wednesday and Friday. Remember, we had a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday trading day and an abbreviated day on Friday, which had a nice little up movement to it, but when it was all said and done, closed basically a little below where it opened. So we are having a little trouble moving higher, and we'll see what December will bring us. Looking at the NASDAQ, look at that. That's what actual uptrend looks like. As for the week, we just kept climbing all week long, led by many of our favorite stocks in the NASDAQ. And finally, the Russell 2000 looks just like the NASDAQ, as it's showing us good strength coming into that month of December. All right, fine. Let's take a look at the VIX. What did the VIX do? Well, look at this. Kind of unique that we saw a couple of the indexes really headed up on Friday, and we still had an increase in volatility as we saw some lagging taking place by the S&P and by the Dow. So a little more volatility in the market, giving us a little nicer premiums as we ended the week for those of you that are option traders and option sellers, and to know how to take care of and advantage of that type of volatility. If you need some help with that, remember Options University has a number of different educational processes that can show you exactly how to do that. Finally, looking at some of the other sectors, looking at the bond sector, the TLT, really showing us very little as we're in a very tight lower trading range. Bonds not showing us much growth whatsoever. If you're an option trader and you know how to pull money out of stocks that go absolutely nowhere, bond market may provide some of those opportunities for you. Looking at gold, our safe haven, without a great deal of volatility in the market last week. Look at how gold just kind of sat there flat and did nothing for the entire week. Next, let's take a look at what kind of volume we had. We talked a little bit about this. Notice on Friday and Saturday, looking at the SPDR, our ETF for the SPX, we see that volume was low on both Wednesday and Friday as the big boys were headed for the Hamptons. All right, with that, let's take a look at the financials, XLF, which generally follows the Dow. We see that's exactly what it looks like, and for the entire week, it basically went nowhere, although very near the highs for the year. All right, and then finally looking at oil, we had a big dip in oil on Wednesday, and then Friday had a little bit of a rebound as we went outside of our Bollinger Band on Thursday. Looks like kind of a final sell-off, and we might get a little bounce out of oil here. Remains to be seen what this does during the weekend. Remember, the overall market will definitely influence that. Also, international news influences the oil market as you watch things like what's taking place with Iran and what effect that has on the oil market, as there was talk of some kind of negotiation with Iran over the nuclear treaty, and we saw that oil dipped as that could get that supply of oil from Iran could get dumped on the market. All right, so those are the gold members. Stick around. We're going to take a look at our stocks to watch. And for those of you that are not gold members, if you'd like more free videos from Options University, go to www.optionsuniversity.com/free gold. With that, this is Market Forecast from Options University. It's Butch Shorrock. It's Monday, December 2nd, 2013. Thanksgiving is over, headed for Christmas. Just a few shopping days left, and be sure to take care of the ones you love. With that thought, this is Butch Shorrock, and trade what you see, not what you think.